You know that feeling, right? That deep internal cringe you get when someone launches into small talk. It's such a common feeling, but it's also really misunderstood. So, in this explainer, we're going to unpack the actual psychology behind why some people just can't stand it.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt your soul just physically leave your body when a certain kind of conversation starts? Or maybe you found yourself desperately scanning the room for an escape route from a perfectly pleasant but agonizingly shallow chat. You know exactly the ones I'm talking about. The classic party opener. So what do you do? Or that gem from the office kitchen. Working hard or hardly working? How about the dreaded weekend plans interrogation? Oh, and my personal favorite, being trapped in an Uber for a 20-minute deep dive on whether it might rain later. These moments can feel like a total social minefield.
Yeah, for a lot of us, small talk doesn't feel like a friendly chat. It feels more like an interrogation. You're just going through the motions, right? Feeling put on the spot, performing some script you never even signed up for. But what if I told you that feeling isn't some kind of social flaw?
This is really the crucial point here. If you hate small talk, it's probably not because you're rude or snobby or antisocial. What psychologists are finding is that for people like you, it goes way, way deeper. Your brain might just be fundamentally wired to reject it.
So here's our game plan. We're going to explore why your brain might be craving depth and how small talk can literally feel like a mental workout. We'll look at the high cost of just faking it, the real power of quiet, and then we're going to reframe this whole thing as an act of vulnerability, not arrogance.
Okay, first up, the brain that craves depth. For some people, the issue with small talk isn't just that it's boring. It's that it feels like a form of mental starvation. Their minds are just built for something way more substantial.
There's actually a psychological term for this. Back in the day, two psychologists, Cacioppo and Petty, developed a scale for what they called the need for cognition. It's basically a measure of how much your brain actually enjoys and seeks out complex, effortful thinking. And for people who score high on this, well, small talk just isn't going to cut it.
Here's a really powerful way to think about it. Imagine you're sitting down for a gourmet meal. The ambiance is perfect, the table is set, but then the waiter brings you a completely empty plate. That's what small talk feels like to a brain that's starving for substance. It's all presentation with zero nourishment. And get this, there's actually data to back this up. A study by a psychologist at the University of Arizona found a direct link between the kinds of conversations people have and how happy they are. Turns out, the happiest people had way more deep, meaningful conversations and way less small talk. See? Your brain doesn't just crave depth, it literally thrives on it.
All right, let's move on to our second group. For these folks, conversation is a workout. Small talk isn't just unfulfilling for them, it's genuinely physically exhausting. It's like their brain is running a marathon while they're just standing still.
The science behind this is something called cognitive load. This is what happens when your working memory gets completely maxed out. See, you're not just listening to the words. Your brain is analyzing their tone, their facial expressions, the pauses, and you're trying to calculate your next move all at the same time. It's intense.
Think about it this way. While some people can just cruise through small talk on autopilot, your brain is firing on all cylinders. It's like it's running 47 background apps just to get through a conversation about the weather. That level of processing just drains your social battery incredibly fast. You're not awkward, you're just overloaded.
And this brings us right to our third group, the authenticity seekers. For them, the problem isn't neurological or even energetic, it's philosophical. Small talk feels like they're compromising who they are. It just feels fake.
The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre actually had a term for this feeling, bad faith. It's that act of performing a version of yourself that you know isn't real. You know, when you say, "I'm good, thanks," even when your world is kind of falling apart, it can feel like this tiny betrayal of your actual self. And for some people, that performance is just unbearable.
And what's so fascinating is that this might be some kind of ancient wiring. I mean, for thousands of years, our survival depended on being able to read someone's true intentions, spotting a lie, sensing a threat. That instinct to read between the lines is still in there. So when small talk feels wrong, it's not a social glitch, it's your deep-seated instinct for honesty kicking in.
So here's the thing that connects all three of these groups, the depth seekers, the easily overloaded, and the authenticity seekers. It's a trait that is almost always misunderstood by the outside world, a genuine comfort with silence.
For most people, silence is awkward, right? It's like a void that has to be filled immediately, like a computer that's buffering. But for those who hate small talk, silence is the complete opposite. It isn't empty, it's fully loaded.
It's a space where real thought can happen, an honest moment between words. It's not a problem to be solved, it's part of the answer.
Okay, so let's tackle the biggest myth of all, the great misunderstanding that follows people who hate small talk wherever they go. And that's the assumption that it comes from a place of superiority.
You know the stereotype. You must think you're too smart, or too deep, or just plain better than this kind of conversation. But the truth is, what's really happening is the exact opposite of arrogance.
And this, right here, is the core of the whole reframe. Choosing to skip the pre-written social script to ask about something real, something that actually matters, that's not a power move. That is a total act of vulnerability. You're risking a genuine connection instead of hiding behind safe, polite chit-chat.
The reality is, a lot of the time, small talk doesn't build connection at all. It serves as a barrier to connection. Every minute you spend talking about the weather is another minute you're not actually getting to know the person in front of you. It keeps things on the surface, safely preventing any real depth from happening.
So, if any of this has been resonated with you, consider this your official permission slip. Your brain craves meaning, and that's a good thing. You're tired of performing a social script, and that's just being honest. You're not antisocial, you're selectively social. You choose to invest your energy where it actually counts, and that isn't a weakness. In a world this noisy, that's wisdom.
And I'll leave you with this final thought to really chew on. Take a second and be honest with yourself. Do you avoid small talk purely because you want to go deeper? Or is it sometimes because the vulnerability of true depth can be just as scary? Both are totally valid, but only one of them leads to the kind of connection I think we all truly crave.